Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to start on rebuilding this 3-burner forge that I made quite some time ago. It was the first 3-burner forge that I had attempted. Found the sheet metal steel, it's pretty thick, almost 1/4 inch, at a scrapyard, all for like $10. It's got fire bricks on the inside, but these are the dense, heavy fire bricks. They suck when it comes to lining a forge. They're very dense, so they soak up and hold a lot of heat. It takes a long time to get them hot. So I'm going to start tearing this down, getting the top off. Once I get the top off, I can get everything else out. We're going to replace these nozzles. I've got an idea of what I'm going to do. I've got a plasma cutter that I'll just cut these out and off with, and then I'll probably take a cutoff wheel and cut these off, and then the plasma cutter make the hole for the new nozzle. These were the homemade venturis that I had made. They work pretty well, but I found a store that provides a much better one. You know, they're $32 a pop, so I'll go get those and then put them in series or whatever. And then my plan is to sell it, just post it on the old interwebs and see who will give me some money for it. Get rid of some clutter in the garage and get me a little cash to buy some more tools. Alright, hope you enjoy. Just gonna get started on this 3-burner forge. I got the grinder with the cutoff wheel on it. I'm gonna go around and cut the welds off, get the top off of it, and so we can get inside of it and see what we gotta do. Alright. We got the top off. Gonna have to put that on the grinder and get those old welds off of there. Get it squared up pretty good. I'm kind of ready to go. The top of the forge, kaowool liner with ITC in there. Pull that open out of there. Still use this new coat, and I've got some Satanite for a rigidizer for the next iteration of this. And these are the fire bricks. See, they're about an inch and 3/4. Heavy. They're very heavy. That just sucks all the heat out of the flame and out of there. It takes forever for these things to get warm. So my plan is take these out, kaowool line the sides, and then I will put some Satanite coating over that. Alright, got my measuring tape. I'll say it's pretty big. It's an 18 1/8 long by 9 1/4 wide. So the length of bricks there, just under 9 inches. That was the reason I made it this dimension, because I had intentionally used or wanted to use bricks thinking that they would work. Again, it's one of my first forges to make. It worked, it burned, it would get steel hot, but just use so much fuel getting it up to temperature. Fuel costs money. Takes a lot to fill up that 100-pound tank, and I don't want to do it as often as I was having to. So I'm gonna work on getting the bricks out of the bottom, and then I'll show you the kaowool on the bottom. kaowool on each side, a couple inches thick, Satanite, rigidizer on that, and we'll go over the top of that with an IPC infrared ceramic coat. That really helps save fuel, keeps the forge hot. Before I go destroying that, I'm going to bring you over and show you what the bottom of this looks like. This here is where the fabric that's normal. You can see this buildup on there. That is flux. Over time, again, these are dense bricks, so they're more resistant to the flux. But even the dense ones, the flux will just over time just eat these away to nothing, and you'll just have a big deep depression in the bottom of your forge. The Bubble Alumina that we're going to use on this one, line it, is very, very resilient, resistant to flux. It doesn't get all eaten away like that. But you can see just the little bit that I used this one before I made the other forge. Already starting to get that flux build up. That's what we're getting rid of. Get these dense bricks out of there. Lighter, more insulating kaowool and Bubble Alumina in there. See that flux building up, and then it's starting to ooze down between the bricks and the cracks and such, and that's where it just continues to deteriorate these bricks. So, bricks going bye-bye. I had previously lined it with the kaowool. That's nice and firm and in there. I'm going to leave this, and then from there, I'll actually put probably another layer, a thin layer, on to build it up, and then I'll do the Bubble Alumina from that point. So that's good. Reuse what you got. These pieces cut, they're going to fit in on the sides here. And then before I cut what is basically going to go around there, I'm going to fit these in and make a couple measurements just to see about how much I'll need, which won't be too much at all. Leaving the top, the gap here at the top. The top, there's an inch or so gap here, which is gonna, the top layer is gonna, with the lid, is gonna sit down and seal that off. So this is gonna go like so. Is put the rigidizer on, which is basically a clay. Feels like a clay when mixed up. maybe a silty clay. I don't know how to describe the texture, but it's very fine. And basically we'll paint that or spackle that over this wool here, and that will, as it cures, dries up, creates kind of a shell veneer, which kind of ready to start mixing the Satanite, and then start applying it to the liner here. This is the Satanite. You can see it just comes as powder. Again, this is a clay material, like bentonite or something of that sort. I'm not sure what the exact composition of it is, but once it cures and the way the texture that it makes when you're mixing it up, it looks a lot like a clay. First thing I'm going to do is wet down the liner inside here. I've got a little hand sprayer, and I'm just going to lightly wet this down a little bit. When you wet it down, it helps the Satanite stick to the wetted liner. When it's dry, it just wants to pull that liner apart. So it kind of helps reduce the adhesion that you get when putting a wet material onto a dry material. That's good and moist. Now I'm going to take the Satanite, I'm going to dump some into this bowl and start adding a little water and mixing it until I get a consistency about similar to sour cream. So kind of a shaved cream, sour cream, shaving cream, just a creamy type texture. Just a little water at a time. When you get these dry products like this, you'll see them ball up, and then the water just beat up off of them. They get pretty hydrophobic. So it takes a little while to break that surface tension. You got to really kind of keep working them over and over. Once you think you've got it mixed, mix it some more. But when we get it mixed up right and the consistency right, it should be able to be painted on with a paintbrush. We'll just goop this on and just start smearing it. Looking for about 1/8 of an inch with this go round, and I'm going to do this twice, and that'll give us about 1/4 of an inch thick layer of this clay. And once fired, it becomes very hard and rigid, and just kind of we're basically making our own clay, our own fire bricks out of this wool and this clay. And so that's proven to work very well for me. One of the cool things that I found about this is I'm not too worried about mixing too much up, because if you cover this in an airtight container, it doesn't cure, it doesn't set up, it just stays kind of pasty. It may dry a little bit, but you just throw a little water in there and begin mixing it, and you'll you can get it back to a workable consistency. Say that's pretty close. If you get it too runny, then as you put it on the vertical sides here, it'll start to slump and just slide off. So it's got to have a little bit of stickiness to it. Again, about the consistency of sour cream. I think we're there. We've got the Bubble Alumina ready to go into the, I'm going to mix it up, and then we're going to put it into the bottom to line this forge. This is 2.5 pounds. I've done the calculations, and we're going to be right perfect with just this. We're going to be looking at about a 3/8 of an inch, a little more in a few areas here or there. It's 17 3/4 inches in length, 7 inches wide, 3/8 of an inch deep, thick layer, and so that's going to give us, we're going to need a little over 2 pounds, since it's going to be a little bit deeper in some areas than others, just undulations in the liner here. I think 2.5 pounds will be more than enough, and it'll allow us to kind of go up the sides here just a little bit to keep the flux off of that when we're forge welding. So I'm just going to dump this whole bag in here. It's just a white powdery material, but it's got these, it's almost like potting soil. It's got these little spheres, little balls, and they're just kind of fibrous material. But I'm gonna add some water to it, start mixing it up, and then we'll just basically trowel it into the bottom here and just get a nice smooth coat on there. This is the top of the 3-burner forge. Each one of these is what I'm going to utilize to hold the burner nozzle in. The burner nozzle will fit like so down inside there, and we'll be able to make our adjustments and such as we need to bring it up a little higher or lower once it's in the forge. Make sure that we're not exposing the burner nozzle to the open atmosphere of the forge, getting it too hot and starting to melt it. What I'm going to do now is weld each one of these into place like so. Come on, line up. So I'm going to tack each corner of this, and then I'll have a little filling in to do right around the edges where I had a round hole before. So a square peg and a round hole, but thank goodness we've got a MIG welder and we can fill those gaps in. That looks pretty straight, so we'll get to welding on it. Alright, so I've got the nozzles in here with the pipes. I don't have the whole assembly on there yet, but what I'm going to do right now is the liner, the insulation is going to go over like this, but I don't want this to sag over time, so when you get up to temperature, this stuff kind of, I've seen it start to sag a little bit. I'm going to weld on these little pieces of angle iron that I cut out. Well, right here, here, here. I got 6 of them. I'm going to weld them on like that, and then piece the insulation, parse it and put that in, and then put the Satanite liner or Satanite coating over that. And as that cures and solidifies, those angle iron pieces will hold this liner up and kind of become one with the top of this top of the forge. So I'm going to weld these on right quick, and then I'll get to getting the insulation kaowool fitted onto that, and then we'll put the Satanite on there. Alright, so we've got the final coat on the top. We'll let that air dry for a while, set it in front of the fan, and then start applying some heat to it to get it to fully cure. Time to plumb up the burners. Got all these fittings here that I need for the burner assembly. It's going to go on the top of the forge, about like so. We'll have individual valve control. Each one of these will represent the burner. Kind of got it all laid out already. Just got to use some pipe dope. Pipe dope, not a dope pipe. It's important. Use some pipe dope, seal off the threads, tighten them up good, have this thing ready to go, ready to drop down into the forge when we get the rest of it finished up. This is the pipe dope thread sealant that I'm going to use. I'll gob a little bit on each one of the threaded pieces, and we'll go to tighten them together, and we'll be on our way. bit through the box and thread the box, and that way we'll be able to put our fasteners on there and hold this lid on. Alright, got a new drill bit, having to do this manual. Sheep hunters.